Every body part on Nick's physique is better except the back.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with 5 days out physique update from the mutant Nick Walker. Hitting the abs and thigh in a very non-traditional way, at least for him, as he always hits this shots front on. And the fact is, Nick doesn't have a very small waistline, but he has one of the best set of abs, which are very deep and very well separated, and I have never seen him hitting that shot while showing his obliques. Now some people out there are even giving the abs and thigh to Nick Walker over Derek and Martin for this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, which is kind of insane if you think about this, but we will see how this plays out in 5 days time. Now the thing is, this pose, that isn't just about judging the abs. I believe the overall aesthetics of both Derek and Martin, they are just so much better than Nick. So this right here is gonna be a very interesting shot and a very interesting comparison. Now Nick really has made a massive statement during this Pittsburgh Pro prep from some people who kept trolling him that he's gonna pull out of this show, especially after Derek jumped in. But the man just killed every single day of this prep, and he has earned the respect of all the fans now. Now whether they like his physique or not, they do respect him. Now majority of the experts out there, they believe that this is gonna be a two-man show, and that is between Derek and Nick. And that itself, that is such a testament that even after not doing the Olympia for 2 years in a row, Nick is still considered one of the top guys in the men's open, and that too top 4 at the very least. So the physique updates that Nick posted a few days ago, in that perfect lighting, they have made fans question their picks for this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. But Stefan, Martin's coach, he called out Nick Walker for using all the possible shadows to enhance the detail and the separation and the conditioning. Now Nick has said this many times, that he's gonna beat Martin and he's gonna make it look easy, while Martin on the other hand thinks Nick ain't beating him this time. So Nick versus Martin rematch, that is gonna be very exciting.
Then put a stage picture of both next to each other, not a picture in a posing room with shadows as much hell.
Okay.
Okay.
Good hell.
You know, everybody can post shadow pictures.
So the man who shot us all at this past Arnold, Ohio, Derek Lunsford, and that was by beating Samson Dauda. He's in Pittsburgh right now, going through one of his final workouts before they battle it out on the stage at this upcoming mighty Pittsburgh Pro and fight for that $100,000 in the prize money. Now it's apparent that Derek seems so confident on what kind of a package he's bringing to the first ever Pittsburgh Pro, and I do not even know why this is even a debate. That Derek at his best, he is obviously the favorite to win this show. He was able to beat such a good version of the reigning Miss Olympia, Samson Dauda, and that was just 10 weeks back at the Arnold, Ohio. And that too against all the odds, defying every expert out there, proving every prediction wrong. And he proved all these guys wrong who kept on saying that there is just no way he's gonna bring up his squats in such a short duration of time. And even though the guy has been on the prep for so long now, but from the looks of it, he doesn't seem burnt out or anything. The man is still pushing pretty heavy weights in the gym, and his team up with Chris Aceto, that really worked out greatly in his favor. Now Jay Cutler said that Derek had one of the most comfortable preps of his entire career for this past Arnold, Ohio, and Aceto really made sure that he only pushed Derek for a few weeks because Derek had already made up his mind that he's gonna be doing the Pittsburgh Pro anyway, irrespective of the results of the Arnold Classic. So were they keeping his best for the mighty Pittsburgh Pro? Well, I'm gonna say not necessarily, but there might be a chance that Derek comes in looking even better than how he looked like at this past Arnold, Ohio against Samson Dauda. And the fact is, if he does that, he's winning this Pittsburgh Pro hands down and in a very dominating fashion, no matter how these other guys show up. And that will certainly be a very legendary moment in his career. Next up, we have an update from Regan Grimes. So some crazy amount of detail coming in, indicating that Regan is getting closer and closer to that condition that he wants to bring when he finally steps back on the stage after more than 18 months. And he's now showing the detail, which is good enough to make a call which show he's gonna be going for as his first show of the year. So apparently him and his coach, they kind of miscalculated the time in terms of introducing that cardio in his regime. And he was doing no cardio whatsoever up until 6 weeks out of the show. So Regan has never been that guy who gets in shape very easily. In fact, if you ask him about his last show, which was the Olympia back in 2023, which also was the best look of his entire career, and in terms of his placings as well, where he placed top 9 in the world, well, he's very open about the fact that he looked kind of flat and small for that particular show because he was just surviving on sub 1800 calories a day, which is nothing for a guy of that frame and who has that much muscle mass. So the fans do not really care which show Regan does next. All they want to see is his true potential and finally Regan at his all-time best, the kind of physique that all of these legends of the sport like Jay Cutler, Samir Bannout and Milos Sarcev have always talked about in regards to Regan and how he can be Miss Olympia if he brings his 100%. Now I know that is a big stretch because the first goal for Regan, that is getting his Olympia qualification and then somehow cracking top 6 at the Olympia this year. And we all know that the Olympia top 6, they were neck and neck last year. Now there are still plenty of shows that Regan can do after this upcoming New York Pro. There is Cali Pro and then there is Legion Sports. And then we have like 4 shows in the month of June. And although Regan is financially very successful, but if he wants to go after the big money, then he should also consider doing a show like Dubai Pro, because that is only 3 weeks away. So that is another 3 weeks of dieting for $140,000. So the biggest task for someone like Regan and Stefan, when it comes to his peak, is gonna be keeping his chest fuller, his quads full blown, and make sure that he doesn't flatten out. Next up, we have the physique update from one of the freakiest men out there, Rubel Mosquer, aka Nexella. And I wanna say this is just under 7 weeks out from this upcoming Dubai Pro. So that current condition on Rubel, the detail on his physique right now, that is clearly indicating that the man is finally very serious about doing this year's Dubai Pro. And he wanna go back to that show with a much better package than last year. He certainly needs more calf delts, more round shoulders, but those arms and chest, that is simply world class. And the man is also looking big and full as a house. So ever since earning his pro card, Rubel has done only 2 pro shows. And he looked extremely impressive at Prog Pro, which was his first show after turning pro. And the man looked so impressive there that he was able to beat a guy like Nathan Diasha. And some people out there even had him beating a guy like Crizo. And that is why he immediately made a case for himself for that Olympia top 10. And that too in his first attempt. But unfortunately, he kind of went backwards. Especially the physique that we saw from him last year at Dubai Pro. And for whatever reason, he chose not to do any show afterwards in 2024. Now Rubel might not have the best condition on the stage, but he has not one, but multiple very standout body parts and multiple shots which really go in his favor. And for a freak like Rubel, having some very standout body parts, that always goes in your favor. I mean, his quads are just so damn huge, so massive, that they make the legs of all the other guys look very small, no matter who it is. Now I do not know how many of you guys agree, but he had the best side shots at Prog Pro back in 2023 with Samson Dauda, Nathan and Michael Crizo in that lineup. Now Rubel is that kind of bodybuilder who can make any bodybuilding show very exciting. But with a guy like Behrouz Tabani in there, coming to defend his title, Rubel must have a backup plan. Because the fact is he just doesn't have the genetics to get as peeled and as shredded as someone like Behrouz Tabani. He just doesn't have that same muscle quality. So Behrouz Tabani, we all know, is gonna be very tough to beat. So this right here is a very detailed look on Terrence Jones, and we have to keep in mind, this is how the guy was looking 2 weeks out from this year's Pittsburgh Pro, his first show in over 16 months, as he hasn't competed since Shiru Classic back in 2023. Now easily one of the most classic looking physique in this division right now with the least amount of weaknesses, and that is something that really goes in Terrence's favor. And what a phenomenal condition to be at with 2 more weeks to go. Now Terrence is aiming to bring his best physique that he has ever presented, but at the same time, he also has to look at the strength of his competition here. Both Josema Beast and Carlos de Oliveira, they have also been looking very shredded and very detailed. And Terrence knows from first-hand experience that even if you are slightly off, even if your conditioning is just a tiny bit off, like the way it was for him at the Olympia back in 2022, you can simply drop down from 2nd to 6th. So there is zero margin of error in that aspect, especially when the competition is on the rear game. Now Terrence not only is the biggest contender to win this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, but he's gonna be one of the biggest names going into this year's Miss Olympia. Now Mike Sommerfeld is still a bigger and a more denser guy, but Terrence, he will have some time to work on those body parts that he aims to bring up, like for instance his hamstrings before the Olympia this year. And that is how he can be even more combative on this year's Classic Physique Olympia stage. So would Terrence really be 10 pounds heavier than the last time we saw him on the stage? Well, that is gonna be really interesting to see how the final package looks like once he fully dries out and gets fuller. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.